What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including The Rock's leaked return, a CM Punk AEW update, WWE wants Braun Strowman back, Randy Orton has been removed from the active WWE roster, the reason revealed behind Bray Wyatt's absence, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into the first story. Now, first story looks at The Rock's return being leaked. Now it looks as if the WWE is working hard to get The Rock back, and not just for one appearance at this year's Survivor Series. The Madman podcast Andrew Zarian is reporting, hearing from a source that The Rock is currently planned to be at this year's Survivor Series. The 2021 Survivor Series marks the 25th anniversary of The Rock's WWE debut, and as Sportskeeda speculated, the WWE could air a tribute to The Rock at Survivor Series, much as they did for The Undertaker in 2020 to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Phenom's WWE debut. Rumor has it that the USA Network has requested The Rock show up on Raw. Zarian added, "I can tell you, USA Network tentatively wants him on that Monday. By the way, he's gonna go everywhere. This isn't like a Raw storyline, he's gonna be on everything." The Rock is such a hot commodity that it makes sense that both the USA Network and Fox would want the People's Champ on both Raw and SmackDown. But you'll no doubt recall that rumors of USA Network executives being furious with the WWE when they aired a Hell in a Cell match on SmackDown, which may be why the WWE chose to air one on Raw the following week. So how can The Rock be free? Well, it could have something to do with him being out of the Fast and Furious franchise. And while The Rock's appearance at Survivor Series is assured of being huge, you can be certain that the WWE's biggest wish is to get the most electrifying man in sports entertainment back at WrestleMania, so Roman Reigns can go one-on-one with the Great One. Given The Rock's hectic Hollywood schedule, that's always been tricky, but recent news from Hollywood suggests there may be some room open in The Rock's schedule, as he's apparently bowing out of the Fast and Furious franchise. What do you guys think of The Rock leaving the Fast and Furious franchise and possibly returning at Survivor Series? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, a CM Punk AEW update. Now, as reported yesterday, stories are coming in that CM Punk's contract with All Elite Wrestling is a done deal. Now more details are coming in that suggest that Punk will soon be All Elite, including a report that the WWE wasn't interested in him, and discussions that the WWE feel Punk is indeed signing with their competitor. Dave Meltzer is reporting in this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter that the WWE wasn't interested in Punk, but that may have changed with AEW's interest in him. The last we heard, WWE wasn't interested in Punk, but AEW being interested in him could have easily changed that tune. 2 years back, AEW had basically said they'd never do business with Punk, although my experience is never doesn't exist in wrestling, whether it comes to either side, as there was bitterness at times regarding Punk across the board a few years back. Dave Meltzer also discussed Tony Khan's previous discussions about bringing in some big surprises, hinting that August and September would be big. Dave Meltzer also said, "With Punk, a WWE source has said that internally the belief is that Punk has signed with AEW. There are a number of things going on behind the scenes that would indicate that, but nobody in AEW has confirmed it, and of course, they won't until the decision has been made for them to go public with something of that magnitude." As we pointed out in previous stories on the potential signings of Punk and Danielson, the company arguably has more to gain by keeping signings nebulous, as to get fans to tune into AEW television and wait for any sign of them showing up. In fact, that might be the case, as Meltzer reported on the demand for all-out ticket sales increasing. Regarding the secondary market right now, there are only two shows that are what we call hot tickets. All Out on 5th September in Chicago has a $141 get-in price, so the CM Punk rumors have upped ticket prices about 18% across the board. AEW seems to be the talk of the town in the wrestling world, but as we'll see, the WWE is looking to counter these moves. So next up, WWE wants Braun Strowman back. Now, is Braun Strowman returning to the WWE? Well, the promotion shocked the wrestling world when it released main event star Braun Strowman, who rumor has it the WWE was looking to save money, as Strowman was reportedly making $1 million a year. Now, rumor has it that the WWE wants the monster among men back, with Meltzer writing in this week's Observer, there is interest in bringing Strowman back, especially after recent AEW signings. The idea that Braun Strowman is some sort of cure-all for the WWE is laughable, given the fact that he's been on the main roster since 2015, and there is a strong case to be made that he's been booked in an average manner at best and piss poor at worst. The WWE Universe quickly got behind Strowman, but they repeatedly misbooked him, whether it was numerous turns or erratic booking that had him putting over Sami Zayn one week and winning the Universal Championship weeks later. If Strowman is wise, he'll come back to the WWE for a big money deal where he doesn't have to worry about being released at Vince McMahon's whim. Next up, Goldberg's schedule for appearances on Raw. It looks like the WWE may be bringing Bill Goldberg back in to pop the ratings on Raw episodes leading up to SummerSlam. According to a report from Wrestling News' Andrew Ravens, Goldberg is now being advertised for 2 episodes of WWE Raw in the weeks leading up to SummerSlam next month in Las Vegas, Nevada. He's advertised for the August 2nd show for the Allstate Arena in Chicago and the Go Home SummerSlam edition of Raw on August 16th in San Antonio, Texas. Now, it's not usual for Bill to make 1 or 2 appearances on WWE television before phoning in on one of his contractually obligated 2 matches every year. However, the WWE is likely also looking for anything it can to bring up Raw's anemic ratings. Next up, Randy Orton removed from the active WWE roster. Randy Orton has been off television, and like most superstar absences, the WWE has provided 0 information on where the Viper has been. However, Fightful Select is now reporting that Orton is on the disabled inactive list. There's said to be no issues between Orton and the company, and the hope is from all sides that he'll be back in time for the August 2nd episode of Raw. There's currently no word on what might be keeping Orton out of commission. Perhaps he's just spending time with his family and is ready to get back on the road in a couple of weeks' time. Next up, the reason revealed for Bray Wyatt's absence. Now, the wrestling world continues to wonder why Bray Wyatt hasn't been on television. Wyatt, one of the most popular WWE characters in recent memory, continues to remain off television, and the case can certainly be made that he helped Raw's wretched ratings. Now, there have been numerous reasons suggested for Wyatt's sabbatical, and our Ringside News is reporting, he asked about Bray Wyatt's current situation, and we were told he is not on a personal leave of absence. His current hiatus was noted as medical. Wyatt is scheduled for the 9th August appearance on Raw, but the card subject to change disclaimer may be applied that night. And finally, Thunder Rosa signs full-time with AEW. A former National Wrestling Alliance Women's Champion, Thunder Rosa, is now All Elite. Now, although Rosa was under contract to the NWA, AEW and NWA officials had worked out a deal with Rosa so she could appear for AEW since the NWA wasn't running shows during the pandemic. According to Dave Meltzer, Rosa signed with AEW shortly after 1st July, but the company waited until now to announce the deal. Rosa has been putting on some great matches in AEW and is definitely one of their biggest female performers, as seen during her Lights Out match against Dr. Britt Baker earlier this year. But one of the most intriguing aspects of this deal is that AEW President Tony Khan made the deal while Rosa was still under contract, normally a practice with legal ramifications. However, Fightful Select reports that AEW brought out the remainder of our NWA contract and that Rosa had asked for her release from NWA as far back as 2020. Tony Khan and NWA President Billy Corgan reportedly reached the agreement, which suggests how Tony Khan's approach of building bridges with other promotions rather than burning them has paid off. But there you have it, guys, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know in wrestling. What do you guys think of these stories? Be sure to leave your comments down below, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.